And with that, May 16th has finally come and gone. A couple hours ago, I got back from my second viewing, and this time I did get to see it in DLP, and which is, it's a digital projection that it's basically a high definition image. It's just a nice, clear, pristine image. It looks so beautiful, and I did see a difference. And I know there are some film purists out there that like the grainy film look, but I like the digital, clear, pristine, high detail image. And I think it did make a difference. I did enjoy it better the second time. One of the reasons being that during the battle I didn't have to pee, and so I could actually enjoy it. The battle didn't seem as slow. I think I did enjoy it, but now that with May 16th is gone and I've seen it twice, it's time for some real analysis now, talking about some more issues here. And by the way, my review was posted on narniaweb.com. At this point, you'll have to scroll down. I think the headline is Narniaweber's review, Prince Caspian, and my review is the third review in there, and you can read that. That's my real review. But this will be some things I noticed in the second viewing and stuff. So a couple issues I wanted to talk about. First off, one of the concerns I did raise, and I had a whole video. I can't remember which one it was, but you can. It was called. I think it was called Miraz's public position. And I did raise the concern that it sounds like they're saying that the Telmarines believe that the Narnians used to exist but are now extinct, unlike the book where they believe they never existed and were fairy tales. And that really is a key difference. And because the whole idea of the myth becoming fact, it can't be the extinct becoming unextinct. It's the myth becoming fact. And I did see something in a storybook before I saw the movie that implied this to me, and I voiced my concerns over that. And the movie isn't, after seeing it twice, the movie isn't completely clear on this. It kind of, I'm not sure if it contradicts itself. There's, when Miraz shows, when he shows the council, he shows the Lords Trumpkin, and they all gasp, because before they say, oh, you're going too far, Miraz, you're going to blame Caspian's abduction on fairy tales. Then I go, oh, okay, well then it's a fairy tale. But then Miraz goes into that speech about how much of our ancestors' blood was spilled to stop this, and now they're back. And sounds like, well, wait a second, so you're saying they're extinct? Then Lord Caspian, I remember when he comes into Cornelius' study just after Cornelius is arrested, and Miraz says, oh, we have to get to Caspian before they do. And Caspian says they, and he goes, no, it's time to learn your history. Then slams the arrow down, and Caspian's like, what? And so there it sounded like they thought they never existed. And, you could say, Caspian's line when he wakes up, he says, you're Narnians. You're supposed to be extinct. That you could say that Caspian, he's been talking to Dr. Cornelius about these stories, and Cornelius has told him that, he thinks there might be some still alive. And, but Caspian certainly believes that they used to exist. And, but it's kind of inconsistent. It's not exactly clear, and it is unfortunate because that is an important distinction. Because it's much more powerful thematically to have it be something that never existed, and it turns out it's actually real, and boy is it real. Rather than that they're extinct and now it turns out they're not extinct. That's just not really what the book is about. One of the ideas that really got Lewis into Christianity was the idea that the Bible was the true myth, although the fact that it was a myth did not make it cease to be true, and that, of course, is another issue. But the movie isn't exactly clear on that, which is disappointing. I still think that the overall spirit of it is there. I love the Caspian asking, Niggabrick, what about centaurs? Are they real? And all that stuff, and I love that chance to kind of see the awe, and I wish they had made a bigger moment out of Caspian seeing Glenstorm for the first time and seeing a centaur. I think that would have been nice. But that is disappointing. The movie isn't very clear on that. Does it contradict itself? Could it be that some people believe they're extinct, some people believe they were fairy tales? You probably could even twist it and say, yeah, it's just like in the book, but in the end it wasn't really clear, which is disappointing, I admit. There was another issue. I was talking to another Narniaweber when I got back, who this is an issue he's talked about a lot, but he didn't like the fact that they didn't have the whole scene with Bacchus and Aslan and all them, going through the town and restoring Narnia. That's the scene where the boys turn into pigs and the guy turns into a tree, and maybe they wouldn't have to include all those specific details, but the basic idea, the basic scene certainly was cut. You could argue that after the battle is won and Caspian's riding into the castle, that scene is kind of in the spirit of that, but it's not the same thing. I understand the concern. And he kind of pointed out that in the book they really win by, he put it, winning over the hearts of the Telmarine people. That as the battle's being fought, they're over there, and all the Telmarine people are becoming Narnians. Basically, they're joining the side of the Narnians because Aslan's going around healing everything. And and the movie, it was, they didn't do that at all. It was just that one. It was very much, a military thing, as he put it. And I still think the spirit of it is there in that, after the battle is won, the Narnians are very nice to the Telmarines, and it shows them helping them out of the water. At the end, then there's that scene where it's obvious. I think they set up well enough that the Telmarines don't like Miraz, and like the book says, Narnia is an unhappy country under Miraz. And then when he's riding into the castle, it does show the Telmarine people rejoicing, and so I think that scene is kind of in the spirit of it. So I understand his concern, and it is a shame. It's kind of the same thing with a similar thing with the Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe ending, where they cut out all the restoring of the statues, and which was disappointing. They cut out that just so they could have a longer battle, and so that is disappointing. I still think they basically kept the spirit of it, and they did establish that some Telmarines actually are going to choose to stay. But yeah, I do understand that point of view. That is a shame they didn't have it in there. Another issue, and this is one of the issues I posted in my video called Questions. When I was trying to come up with theories for how they were going to fix the flashback problem, I couldn't. I was thinking, well, how is Trumpkin, if Trumpkin gets captured really early, he's not even going to know who Caspian is. So what's he going to tell the Pevensies, and why are the Pevensies going to trust him? And it's not completely clear. Initially I actually posted a thread saying, "Hey, this is a huge plot hole." After Peter fights Caspian, how does Peter says, Prince Caspian? How did he know he was Caspian? And how did he know he was leading the Narnians? And I thought that was a huge plot hole. Now Tyrion, the founder of Narnia, pointed out to me. He said, "Well, it could be when Trumpkin was on trial, or whatever we want to call it, under Miraz's throne room place." That Trumpkin heard him talking about Caspian, and although he got him, and obviously he knew that Caspian hadn't really been abducted by Narnians, although I guess he didn't hear that part. But so he could have heard him from that, but it doesn't really make complete sense. Like, why are they trying to, why is Peter trying to get to Caspian? Peter, I don't see how he can know that Caspian's leading the Narnians. Even Miraz didn't say that. At that point, Miraz was saying, "Oh, Caspian's been kidnapped," and so that's a big plot hole. I think that's one thing where the writers, they tried to make it so, it makes sense as long as you don't think about it too much. Like, Trumpkin could have heard it from Miraz, but if you really think about it, it doesn't make sense. And it is one of those difficult issues. Like, it was one of those things that I could never come up with a great solution for, as to how they were gonna do that. Because I did agree with eliminating the flashbacks, but that was a problem. Like, well, what does Trumpkin know then, and why did the Pevensies follow him? That I could never come up with a great solution to that. So this is a good example of where, because I've read the book and understand, well, it's a very uncinematic book, and this is a part that just couldn't figure out a way to do it, that I'm more forgiving of, whereas for someone who hasn't read the book isn't going to understand that, of course. But I think that they did about as good as they could have done with it, probably. It's a tough issue. But overall, I certainly appreciated it more as far as the cinematography this time. Just absolutely gorgeous, I think, the way it's shot. And I would say right now my favorite scene in the movie, besides the video game clips, favorite scene in the movie is probably when the Pevensies, and the whole section of the film where the Pevensies enter Aslan's house and then see the carvings on the wall and the fire goes around. That's such a powerful scene, and that really is the heart of the book right there. And overall, I did like it better the second time. And I'll probably go see it a third time, and I'll certainly have more analysis after that.